And then I would also plead with you that if you can, please mute your mic so that we don't get sharp feedback at our end. If it's time for you to ask a question or something, you can have it back. Okay. Thank you. Just a minute here.
Please, did you say you wanted someone to record?
Yes.
I can record, but I need to be made a host first.
Chantel, right?
Yes, Chantel.
Okay.
The meeting is already being recorded.
Okay.
Before 10:15, I was inside the.
Is it already being recorded?
Yes, please. I can see recording on my screen.
Okay, I can see it here. So that was what I was waiting. Okay, so if it's going on, then we are already here. So thank you once again. Thank you once again for this opportunity to talk with you. So as Desmond mentioned, my name is George Adusa Akwadie. I had most of my life in Ghana, as he rightly said. And once again, all that he said was true. So I just want to move on to why MeetMentors, because he's already talked about me. Maybe the other thing that he probably did not mention is that profession-wise, I've worked mostly in educational institutions. I've worked in colleges. I've worked in, my heart has always been in the area of education and training. And so that has been where I've spent most of my life. But at the moment also, in addition to my job as an education consultant and other things, I also work as an executive pastor here in one of the global churches here in Canada. And so I just love to get a chance to, connect with people and to provide the right information to enable them, as I said before, live out to their God-given potential. So that is that about me. MeetMentors. So MeetMentors was founded in 2017 and officially incorporated in 2018 under the Ghana Companies Act, 1963, Act 179. As you can see here, we are, as an organization, we provide training and advising support to college students, to recent graduates, to talented youth in Ghana and across the continents of Africa. So we have mentors who have signed up with us, who provide this kind of information. And okay, sometimes we also have one-on-one mentoring as part of what we do. We felt there was a need, and personally, I felt there was a need in this area because for most of my life, even when I was in Ghana, I got a chance to, connect with a lot of young people in my church at the time. And in addition to, my role then as a Sunday school teacher, I also had a chance to talk about education, talk about career, provide support for a lot of young people in that. Most of them, when they were going to, university after high school, they would talk with me about the programs they want to study, about choices, in life. So those were things I was very passionate about. After I left the shores of Ghana, I realized that most of them were still interested in these things from me. And so they would contact me via Facebook, this was WhatsApp. So through other means and, still ask me to support them in these areas. At a point, I realized that it was not something I could do just by myself. And so the wise thing then was to be able to create a platform where others who have got similar passion can also be part of what we do as an organization. And so it was to bring more people who share my passion, who share my vision with me so that we can impact a lot of young people. And so that is what we have been doing since 2018. And I just, so that's what we've been doing for this couple of years. As an organization, our vision is to make mentorship is to make mentorship opportunities easily accessible to college students, as I said before, recent graduates and talented youth in Ghana and across Africa. Our mission is to be able to employ technology through innovation, partnerships, and collaboration to provide mentoring. And so that is why this collaboration with TMS is able to, help us reach the people that we want to reach, which is you. Our main areas of focus as an organization is to provide academic mentoring, career and entrepreneurship mentoring. We also are very much interested in talents and leadership development. So these are the areas that we focus on. Our values, as you would know, every organization definitely must have its values. Our values are potential. We believe in the potential of people. We believe that every single person on earth, especially with our focus in Africa, has been given potential by God. And so they have to be able to get a right place to grow that potential, to be able to impact themselves and also the people around them. We believe in integrity. As an organization, we always say that success without integrity is a risk adventure. If you have success without integrity, you are just heading to doom. And so we stick to that a lot. Teachability, what we imply by this is that for a person to be able to be part of a mentoring relationship, one must get a heart to be teachable. And so we focus a lot on that as well. Then the last one, which is ownership, we say that if you come into our program, one thing we want you to know is that you must have ownership over your own dreams, over your own visions. We would bring mentors your way, but the role of the mentors are to support you, are to help you to be able to reach your goal. But you must be in charge of your own life. I mean, your own destiny, as we would often say. So these are the areas you can connect with us. You can connect with us via Facebook, which this current program is live on Facebook as well. So our page there is MeetMentors. We are also on LinkedIn. You can connect with us there. And I personally love to connect with lots of you young people. I love the passion that a young African, has now, and I love to connect with you. So please feel free, connect with me on LinkedIn. Our page is also there. You can follow us on LinkedIn. You can like us on Facebook to be able to get all the updates we bring your way. And then you can also go on our website, which is here, www.meetmentors.org. You go there, you get to see all the mentors we have, and those who would come on board, you see them. You also get a chance to explore the blog section, which we have done quite a good number of blog posts related to mentoring. One thing you will see there is that we have shared stories of some people who have been impacted by their mentors. And I'm glad to say that Dr. Angela, who will also be speaking today, is also part of MeetMentors, and her story is one of the stories that received lots of views on our blog page as well. So you can check our blog page after the event. So that is that about MeetMentors. When we talk about mentoring, what is mentoring? Desmond mentioned a bit about that at the initial part. There are so many definitions for mentoring as a term, and as you can see here on the slide, sometimes people would see that as someone giving direction, someone providing training, giving support, giving motivation, or helping people to achieve their goals or to be successful. I like to often present mentoring from the perspective of one Irish human resource person who's also mentoring enthusiast. He is called Connell Neal. And how Connell Neal approaches mentoring is unique in my view. So what Connell says is that there are three categories or three ways that a mentor can function. One, a mentor can be a sponsor. And so when a mentor becomes a sponsor in your life, what they often do is that they are the people who would put their reputation on the line and take responsibility for your success. And so what that means is that even though they may be very successful in their area of profession, in their area of endeavor, they would often put their life, on the line and take responsibility for your success. Sometimes they will share information that are very sensitive to their lives because they want you to be successful. And one example that I often give from my own experience is that when I started MeetMentors, I got a chance to, get a mentor, a British lady who is very much in this field. And at the time, she was helping me to be able to, build the organization and grow the organization. And she would share very, very sensitive information from her business, like a business plan, key things that I thought were very personal to her and her organization. She was willing to share them with me. So that is a sponsor. They want to provide for you something that you need. Sometimes it costs them, but they are willing to do that. Those are mentors. Sometimes they may come in as a guide. So when somebody comes into your life as a guide, they would often ask questions like, what is your next step? They want to know you. They want to know, they want to see that you are moving on. What is your next step? And for those of you here, most of you, I guess, mathematicians, some of you are in maybe level 100, 2, 3, or 4. You may have people in your life who want to ask, so what are you doing after school? What are you going to do this summer break? What is the next step in your life? You've been able to, graduate from level 100 to level 200. What are you doing? And then they help you to learn to trust your decisions. So these people may not necessarily give you the right, sorry, they will not give you, they will not make decisions for you, pretty much. That is what I want to say. They would let you make decisions, but then they will guide you. This is not right. I would suggest you do it that way. They guide you on the way to be able to, move on. Those are also sometimes how mentors would also, be in our lives. And then the third category is those who come as coaches. And mostly they are those who put a focus on your performance improvement. And so these kind of people are willing to, you know, um, check on you from time to time, not only to ask you for the next step in your life, but they are willing to help you focus your performance in an area that brings improvement. So for instance, you were able to maybe keep your GPA at say 3.25 in level 200. As you move on to level 300, they will ask you, what are you doing to be able to increase your GPA? What are you doing to be able to increase in this area, to grow in that area? These people come and then they put a check on you. Maybe this week you're going to do this. Next week you're going to do that. Bring me the results and let's move on. These are people that would often come as coaches. But in the nutshell, they would all be coming your way, helping you to be able to grow in the area that you want to grow in. So this, most of the time, are how you would see mentors affecting your life. So basically, mentoring is a relationship between, most of the time, a person who is well advanced in their area of endeavor, be it career or whatever it is, and someone who is growing up. And so that relationship helps the younger person to be able to gain knowledge, to gain experience, to get the right information to make the right decisions. One thing that mentors do not do is that they will not make decisions for you. They will guide you to make the right decisions. They will provide the right information for you to, do the right thing. If you are wrong, they are willing to bring you back to them, encourage you, and help you to move on. And so that is what in the nutshell encapsulates the whole concept of mentoring. Why is mentoring so important for the young African? I came across, this um, information a while ago, and I always love to use it, especially when I'm speaking to young Africans like you. And as you can see, it says that 3 in 5 African children grow up without supportive fathers. And this is from a group called African Youth Mentorship Network based in South Africa. Although I believe the numbers may not necessarily be the same in every country, in every region, I believe there is something we can learn from it. And so if 3 out of 5 children grow up without supportive fathers, and I want to expand a little bit the supportive fathers here, not necessarily fathers who may provide food, shelter, clothing as the basic necessities of life, But also for us in the field of mentoring, how many fathers are able to provide their kids with the right, their youth in this case, with the right information for where the young person wants to get to? Maybe in your family, you may be the first person to go to college, to go to university. In as much as your father may love you a lot, he may not have the right information, the right experience to be able to help you make the right decisions for where you want to go. And at every point in time, you get these people in the bigger pool of the young people who are growing up, in this case in Ghana, and maybe TMS or the University of Ghana Mathematics Department. If you are fortunate to have come from a home where there are lots of, educated people and scholars, you chances are you can get that support. But if you are not fortunate to be in that area, then the point is this: you would not be able to get that support. And so that is why we feel mentoring from especially organizations like MeetMentors and in partnership with groups like you would provide this, will close this gap for some of the people who may not have this opportunity. The second thing is that according to a 2015 UN report, 226 million youth between the ages of 15 and 24 are in Africa, 226 million. I know I'm talking to mathematicians. You are well versed with figures, and so you can really get this. But that is the number. But the last one is what really strikes me a lot. By the year 2030, which is not very far from now, young Africans, which means 35 years and below, will make 42% of the world's youth population. Just think about that. In the year 2030, which is we are in 2021, few years from now, in the whole world, if we're considering younger people 35 years and below, 42%, almost half of that will be from Africa. So my brothers and sisters here, in the next few years, the point is that Africa would have a very big, supposedly, say in issues about youth if we can put ourselves together as Africans, empower ourselves, build the right attitude, and grow. If we are making 42% of the world youth population, that is a great space of influence. And I believe it is important, if this number works, then we must get the right information to make the right decisions. There is a Ghanaian writer, speaker called Laila Akita. Maybe some of you may know her. I like the quote that is being said here. It says, every great achiever is inspired by a great mentor. That is so true. So if you are on this platform right now and you want to be a great achiever, which is why I believe you are here, the truth is that you definitely need to be inspired by a mentor in your life. That is so important. Because you are mathematicians, I felt I'll bring something from Sir Isaac Newton because you can identify with him. He says this: if I have seen further, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants. So we all celebrate Isaac Newton, and I'm sure, as I said, mathematicians, you probably love him a lot. And he is saying that if he has been able to see further, it is because he has stood on the shoulders of giants. My question now, therefore, is if you also want to see further, on whose shoulders are you standing? That is a big question. And so I want to talk about 7 key, benefits of mentoring to mentees. And maybe the screen, if you are not getting it well, I'll just go through. One is that mentors help mentees avoid common and crucial mistakes that would come to them in the course of their life. The point is that in every life endeavor, in everything you want to pursue, every vision and every goal, there are often common mistakes that people make in that area. If you have a mentor, chances are you can avoid those mistakes. And sometimes people want to make mistakes. In as much as you can learn from your mistakes, too many mistakes can derail you. And so you want to avoid that. The second is that mentors help mentees to identify talent, strengths, purposes, and to be able to develop them. Sometimes you may not even know the potential that you have, but a mentor in your life can help you be able to get there, identify them, find a way you can grow them, and then move, on in those areas. Another thing is that mentors help mentees to make right career and academic choices. If you have someone who is really, if you have someone who understands the field of, sorry, I just want to increase my screen because I think some of you are not getting it. So mentors can help you avoid crucial mistakes. I've said that. Mentors help mentees to identify talents and strength. Mentors help mentees to make right career and academic choices. That is key. Mentors help mentees to be disciplined and focused. One of the key elements of success is discipline and being focused. If a mentor is in your life, they can help you to do that. Mentors can also connect their mentees to their professional networks. When I came to Canada, one thing I heard, which was quite interesting, was that they said in Canada, about 90% of the jobs you get are through your networks. Maybe in Ghana, we would say who you know. Here, they call it networks. It's the same thing. And the truth of the matter is that if you have the right mentors in your life, they can connect you to their professional network. You can skip sometimes the line because you have the right people to connect you. Mentors provide information and knowledge needed for growth, especially in character formation. As you grow, as you move on, you realize that you would need a lot of, growth in the area of character when it comes to success, and mentors can help you do that. And then the last one is that mentors provide encouragement and hope in difficult times. We all know that we are in difficult times, COVID and other issues. In this season, mentors can provide encouragement and hope for you to be able to move on in your life. One of my best all-time, maybe not all-time, but one of my best mentors is Dr. Miles Monroe. Maybe most of you would know him. He said that the greatest act of leadership is mentoring. No matter how much you may learn, achieve, accumulate, or accomplish, if it all dies with you, then you are a generational failure. Why does this matter here? I have come across lots of leaders who want to give back, who want to encourage young people, who want to mentor young people, but they are not finding them. That is the truth. Or they are not finding the people with the right attitude to go through mentoring under them. And so I want to say this to let you know that there is hope. If maybe you are here, you're telling yourself, I've got no mentor, there are a lot of people out there who want to connect with you. You must have the right attitude to connect with them. And then the last question I have before I end my presentation is this. Where have you placed mentoring in the pursuit of your vision? If all that I have said is true, if all that I've said is important, if all that I've said, makes sense to you, and you're thinking, how would I get there? How it begins with, where have you placed mentoring in the pursuit of your vision? You are going to school, you are making the good grades, you have a good character, you're building, but have you also considered making mentoring part of your life in the pursuit of your vision? This is very, very important. And so that is the question I want to leave with you this morning. So on that note, I would say thank you very much for making time to listen to me. I know we're going to have questions at the end, and I'll be happy to answer the questions you have from my presentation. Thank you very much.
Wow. Thank you very, very much, George. That was a wonderful presentation. I think I like Leila Keator's quote where she says that every great achiever is inspired by a mentor. So before we would move on to our second speaker, who is in the person of Dr. Angela Tebu. So I would introduce her and then she will take on the stage. So Dr. Angela, well, is a mathematician, a female mathematician, and she is the founder of Film Africa. That's an NGO that promotes female African mathematicians. And then their mission is to inspire young girls to pursue mathematics and know its diverse career options. Angela is passionate about mathematics application and currently an Ames Google AI postdoctoral fellow at Ames Ghana. She wants to inspire ladies to be confident to pursue careers in mathematics related fields. She has a BA in Mathematics and Economics from the University of Ghana, an MSc in Mathematical Sciences from Ames, Ghana, a postgraduate diploma in Mathematics from the International Center for Theoretical Physics, and a PhD in Mathematics from the University of Glasgow. So before, that is our second speaker, and then she'll pick up the stage and then give us what she has.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Thanks, Desmond, for the introduction. So I'll first start. Okay, and thanks, George, for the opportunity. I know this is a collaboration between MeetMentors and the Math Society. So thanks, George, for this opportunity to also speak. And I'm happy to be here. I think it's my first time interacting with a group of University of Ghana students. So it's very, it feels very, it's great to be back, not as a student, but as a speaker to share my experience with you. So I have only one slide. Everything I'm going to say is on this slide. So we are talking about mentoring, right? And George gave us a very brilliant introduction about mentoring, talked about the fact that a mentor could be a sponsor, could be a guide, could be a coach. So this presentation will be about my journey from University of Ghana as an undergraduate student to where I am now as a postdoc at Ames, Ghana, and the role that mentors have played in this. So on this slide, you can see pictures of people that you might know. And for me, these have been great mentors who have held my hand to get to where I am. And Desmond said at the beginning that you could have a dream, right? You want to achieve things, but between that dream and you realizing it, you need people who believe in you. You need people who support you to make that a reality. So I'm going to talk about that in very practical terms. Okay. So I'll start with University of Ghana, since most of you are students at the University of Ghana. So I was like you, I'm not going to say how many years ago, many years ago. I started with economics, mathematics, sociology, and theater arts. Quite a strange combination, right? Because mostly people do accounts, maths, computer science, statistics, but I did sociology and theater arts. Why? I love maths. I knew I'd wanted to continue with maths, maybe to 300, 400, but yeah, I wanted some other courses, reading to kind of balance it out. So when you do your challenging maths for your while, then you do some reading to just cool it off a bit. So I dropped theater arts after my first year. Then after my second year, I dropped sociology. So in my third year, I remember, I don't know if it's still the same. So in your third year, in both economics and mathematics, you have a list that's the department posts or people who can major and people who can combine, right? So if you are given a major, you can combine, but if you are given a combine, you can't major. I don't know if it's the same now. So econs, I was given a major, mathematics, I was given a major. Accounts major, that's something most people dream of doing, right? So that was the norm. When you get a major, hardly would you drop it to either minor or just drop accounts. But for mathematics, there were very few people majoring in mathematics ahead of me. So yeah, it was quite strange to be on the list. Okay, what am I going to do with maths, right? Very often, yeah, back then you think, okay, when you do maths, you become a teacher. So yeah, maybe I'm not ready to teach, right? So let me do accounts and maths, and that will give me some diversity when I finish. At least I can go into accounts if I want that, or mathematics. And I remember Dr. McIntyre, so those who have been in at the department for a while, so she used to be the head of the mathematics department. So she called me to her office and she was trying to convince me to major in mathematics. But hey, I didn't have friends who were majoring, or I didn't even think math could be something that you could pursue very far, right? So I said, yeah, let me play it safe. So I chose to combine with mathematics. So I finished with that. I graduated. Then I was at a department. So I'm now starting my real mentoring journey. So I was at the department as a national service person. I really didn't know what I wanted to do, whether I wanted to continue with maths or accounts, right? So, or whether I wanted to work in industry. So at that time, so that was around 2012. Yes, that was when Ames Ghana was first opening. So Ames Ghana had already admitted its first batch. And at that time, Dr. Osei Prince, yeah, was the academic director. So he was my lecturer the first year and all that. So I knew him, but he asked me, okay, what did I want to do? I said, okay, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. Then he mentioned that Ames had opened and they were accepting new students, so I could apply. So that comes to my points here, right? So I didn't know what I wanted to do, but kind of gave me some motivation, right? So what do you want to do? I really enjoyed being in school, right? So he motivated and advised me to apply to Ames Ghana. So I said, okay, why not? 1 year you can think of what to do next from there, right? So I applied to Ames Ghana. But as George said in his presentation, when you have a mentor, they can serve as sponsors. So what are sponsors? So sponsors put their reputation on the line for you. So that's when they write recommendation letters for you to go to grad school or wherever you want to go. So I needed to ask for recommendations, and Dr. McIntyre was one of the people who recommended me, and Dr. Edu Jemfi. So these were people who put their reputations on the line for me. They supported me with their recommendation letters for me to go to Ames Ghana. So I went to Ames Ghana, and for those who don't know Ames, so Ames is a postgraduate institute. We are now in Accra, so very close to Legon, and it's a scholarship program which brings together students from all across Africa and lecturers from all across the world to teach you in a very intensive environment. So it's a 24-hour working environment. So at Ames, so you could think maths at the undergrad level is challenging, then Ames is maybe to another power, right? Not even times. So if you multiply, that's a bit slow. So you raise it to powers. So I went to Ames, and at Ames it was quite challenging. And for me as Legon, I had read a lot of algebra courses. So when a block came for algebra to be taught, I was really excited. And the lecturer then was Uli. So Uli is the one in Batakari here and in my graduation picture. So Uli came to teach a course in algebra. And for me, I really knew algebra and I was really intrigued by it. So I used to go to his office, ask a lot of questions, and he realized, okay, yeah, I was really interested in maths, but I didn't really know what I wanted to do after Ames, right? So he gave me some sense of direction. So after Ames, what next? I wasn't ready for a PhD then, right? So he mentioned that, yes, there's this place called the International Center for Theoretical Physics in Italy, where you can do a 1-year postgraduate diploma and hopefully move on from there. So Uli gave me a sense of direction here, but also support. So he didn't just tell me to apply, but he also gave me a recommendation letter to go to ICTP. So from Ames Ghana, I went to ICTP. So yes, so University of Ghana was challenging. When you're a math student, people think, yeah, it's so difficult. Then you go to Ames, raise it to maybe a power of what? Power of your favorite number. Then after Ames, I went to ICTP. So ICTP was a pre-PhD program. So you go there preparing to do a PhD. So you are only 10 students from all across the world, and you are taught by the best lecturers, and it's training in the backgrounds of mathematics. So there you do topology, differential geometry, dynamical systems, all these foundational mathematics. So at ICTP, at Eugene, yeah, I was a good student. At Ames too, I was also good, one of the best, right? But you go to ICTP and you realize that, wow, there's a whole world out there, right? You could be a local champion in your home country or your African institute, but you go somewhere and you realize that, wow, there's a bigger world out there. So I found it a bit challenging, right? That's why at ICTP, yeah, you had to, it was a different way of teaching, right? It wasn't focused on, yeah, you just know your formulas and you go. No, you had open book exams, right? So you bring your notebooks and everything you want. You have the questions, and it's not just about getting the definitions or anything. You really had to apply it. So that was on another level. And for me, that was why I saw growth, right? So when you're in a place and you're very comfortable, you think, okay, things are just going, but sometimes you need to go to places where you grow. So ICT was very challenging, and I almost quit maths there because I realized, okay, there I was struggling, right? But one thing I learned is that you don't always have to be a champion, right? At UG, I finished with a first class with a very strong GPA. At IMS Ghana, I was a valedictorian and all that, right? But ICTP, of course, I didn't finish as the top student, right? So that was a place of learning. But that was where I decided, okay, this is very challenging, but I wanted to do a PhD in mathematics. So I went back. Please, can you mute your microphones? Okay, thank you. Yeah, so I decided, okay, I wanted to do a PhD in mathematics, but if you want to do a PhD, you also need people to write or coach you to do it. So I went back to Uli. For me, I've always wanted to study in the UK. So Uli was then a lecturer at the University of Glasgow, the UK. So I went back to him that I wanted to do a PhD, and he said there was this opportunity. So for the ladies here, so in my introduction, I promote a lot of females in mathematics. So if you're a lady here, you want to pursue a PhD in mathematics, there's this scholarship called the Schlumberger Foundation Faculty for the Future. I'll post it in the chat box. So they sponsor women from developing countries to study at top universities across the world, so that when they finish, they can come back to their home countries to support. So I said I was going to apply for it, but I needed coaching, right? You know, when you're applying for funding to go to a top university, tuition is expensive. Those who have looked into traveling abroad, tuition is expensive, living expenses is expensive, and all that. So you needed people to coach you in order to put in a very strong application. So Uli was there to give me that coaching, but also that support, not just Uli, but also Dr. McIntyre. So Dr. McIntyre, she wrote my recommendation for IMS Ghana, but also wrote that for my PhD. So I applied for that. And I was sitting in the library that day. You know, when you, I don't know how many of you have applied for scholarships, but when that email comes, right, there's a way you read it, right? So now we mostly have smartphones. So you pick your phone, and when you drop down there, you can sometimes read your part of your messages, not the whole messages, right? So you drop it down, you try to see the beginning statements of the statements, well, of the email, whether it's a congratulations or sorry, right? So I was in the library studying, and I got an email from the scholarship, and yeah, I had to read it strategically, right? And wow, it was they giving me funding to go and do my PhD. And for me, it was a dream come true, right? Because here was me who wanted to study for a PhD in mathematics, and that dream was coming true. And one other thing I failed to mention was that when I was an undergrad in third year, or even throughout my whole UG maths lectures, I didn't have any female lecturer apart from Dr. McIntyre. So for me, seeing her as a female in mathematics really inspired me to study for a PhD in mathematics. So for me, I was going to Glasgow. The goal was to become, to get a PhD in mathematics, and that would be a very successful one. So I went to Glasgow for my PhD. That was in 2015. And in the middle of my PhD, Uli had to move to Germany. So he had to move to Germany. So I had to get a new supervisor. And that was Ken Brown. So Ken was also a lecturer at the School of Mathematics, and he agreed to become my PhD supervisor. And one thing I really admire about him being a mentor is the training that he gave me. So Uli had already met in Ghana. He was my master's supervisor and all that. But Kenny, he's a professor in mathematics with a lot of accomplishments and all that. But very rigorous. So he trains you that he wants things to be done to be done excellently, right? So if you are writing, let's say, a paper or a thesis, he'll make sure that every sentence he has read and whatever comments he put there, you have to effect it before he agrees to it. So that's where training comes in. So mentors are there not just to motivate, advise you, coach and all that, but they are there to train you, right? Because in the end, I want to be an excellent lecturer, an excellent researcher. And in order to get that training, you need people who will tell you that it's not enough just putting anything substandard out there. You needed people who train you to put in your best. So that was where Kenny came there. And glory be to God, in June 2019, I graduated with my PhD in mathematics. And that's a picture of me during my graduation. But it doesn't end there. After PhD, what next, right? You'd want to either lecture or do a research and all that. So that's where these two other mentors come in. So here is Chelsea Walton and Ulrika Wilson. So these are American professors, but one thing I admire about them is that these are very accomplished mathematicians, but they are there to support. So if I want to go to a conference and I put in my application, they are there to support with their recommendation letters. If it's a project, so I'm working on a second project with Chelsea. We have a first project and a paper out, and we have a second one that we are working on. So mentors are there to support you to achieve a goal. So I'm a postdoc person. I'm doing research, but as a research person, your goal is to produce research output, right? So Chelsea is there to be a collaborator, to be someone who supports me to achieve that goal. And finally, I'm back here to my starting point. So I started here with Prince and I'm back here to Prince. So currently I'm at Ames Ghana. So at Ames Ghana, I'm a postdoc. And how did I get here? It was through the support of Dr. Osei. So Prince is my postdoc mentor. Postdoc mentor means is someone you aspire, someone who's achieved great and you aspire to be, but also someone that you work with. So at Ames Ghana, I'm working on research projects with Dr. Osei. And for me, he's really been very supportive to me right from my undergrad up to now. And I'm really grateful to him and everyone here. So I would end with emphasizing what both Desmond and George said. It's important to have mentors because you would have a dream, right? And in order to achieve that dream, you need these people because when you write these high level applications for either scholarships or schools, you need very top people who are accomplished to write those recommendations for you, people who put their reputations on it. And do not hesitate to approach your lecturers who you believe you will write not just any any form of support, but very strong support for you, and that will help you to achieve whatever you want to achieve. So I think I'll end here. I've been talking so much. I'll end here. And
Thank
hopefully
you very, very much, Dr. Angela. That was some great presentation there. So we've learned that you probably had mentors every part of your journey to being a postdoc. Even still being a postdoc, you have a mentor who is helping you to be where you want to be. So before we enter into the question and answer session, there's a little survey I would like everyone to fill. So the form has been sent to the chat. If you could fill and then we could have our question and answers very soon. Thank you very much. So the link has been sent to the chat. So if you fill it and then you can come back and let's have a wonderful question and answer time. Okay, so if you have any question, please you could unmute yourself and then ask your question. You could direct it to any of the two speakers who have spoken so far, and then they will answer you. Kindly, please, if you have any question, you ask your question.
Yeah, hello. Hello.
Hi. Your name and then your question.
Please, my name is Bawa Faisal Mahama.
Okay.
Yeah, and please, I want to ask, in the field of mathematics, are we only when we go outside there, are we only limited to doing research and also being a lecturer? I want to know some of the work that when you study mathematics or some of the fields that you can be, at least if we can have a gist about those things. Thank you.
Okay, so I thank you for your question. It is something that our third speaker is going to talk about. So when he starts, you get to have your answer.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Michael Texton, you have your hands raised. Please, you could ask your question.
Hello, sir. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, hello.
Michael.
Yeah, please, I wanted to know what it means to have a PhD in mathematics.
Okay, so I think this question is directed to Dr. Angela. She will be the one to answer that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks for your question. So a PhD in full, just a doctor of philosophy, right? In whatever field. So the requirements are different depending on where you go to. So before you get into a PhD program, I studied in the UK or in other European countries, you need a master's in a relevant field in order to be admitted. And what is a PhD? So a PhD is more research focused. So you came from your undergrad master's doing mainly coursework, but in a PhD, depending on your program, for me, I did a 1-year coursework where we did a review of the foundations in mathematics that we had done in a master's or undergrad. Then we went into research. So for a PhD, you have a topic, right? So you have a problem that you are seeking to find answers to. So for me, we were seeking to find quantum group actions on singular plane curves. So that was the big question. So you start with a big question, then you try to break it down into smaller bits. You can't just attack the big question straight away. So in your first year, you try to understand your problem by starting with some examples or reading about what other people have done. So you start with that, then gradually you get some results, and using that one result, you build on it to get a more general result, which addresses the bigger problem that your thesis is trying to satisfy. So a PhD, for me, involved coursework and research. And at the end of every year, you had to prove that you had done enough research in order to progress to the next level. And in your final year, you are supposed to submit a PhD thesis. So a thesis is a write-up of all your, so mine was 3.5 years, or the 3.5 years of work you have done, which you present to the university. They have external and internal supervisors who look into your work to see whether it is worth the degree that they are awarding. Then you have a defense. So PhD defense, yeah, that's a bit, so after all the work, that's not done, right? So you meet a panel and you defend that what you have done is original. It's something that you did. It wasn't something that you copied, right? So people plagiarize, they copy and all that. So they want to be sure you did. Once you pass that, then you'll be officially awarded a PhD. So a PhD is more of an in-depth. You go in-depth into a problem or a research topic, and in the end, your findings enable you to be awarded the degree. So I think That'll be it in short.
Thank you very much, Dr. Angela. The next question. I saw Asan Bukari's hands up. I don't know if you still have a question to ask.
Please, I want to ask, like, with measuring in mathematics, uh, can you, apart from being acquiring PhD or maybe becoming a researcher, can you divert after having majored in mathematics?
So I think this is for Dr. Angela.
Okay. I need to change my device, so I'll be back in 2 minutes. So maybe I can take these questions. Can we take this hopefully after Dr. Chum's? I need to. I'm having challenges with my connection, so let me switch, and hopefully Dr. Chum can have his talk, and afterwards I'll address these.
Okay, so that is fine. So then Dr. Chu will have his talk, and then after Dr. Chu's talk, we'll have more time for the question and answer. So for most of us in the mathematics department, we cannot have been to the math department and not know Dr. Chu. You get it? So yeah, Dr. Chu is someone we all know. Most of us have actually been taught by him. He's currently my supervisor for my final year project, which I'm proud to say. And he's a lecturer. He has an interest in representation theory, which is an aspect of mathematics. So I think would let Dr. Chu take up the speech now.
Thank you, Desmond. Thank you, George. Thank you, Angela, for the presentations. And so it's good to try and come up with the other aspect of it, which has come up already in the Q&A, which is, what do I do with the mathematics? So let me just share the screen. So I hope you can all see career prospect for students in the mathematical sciences. So I deliberately made it mathematical sciences, not mathematics, because I believe that the students here cut across. They may not be doing just a major in mathematics. They may be combining with statistics or computer science or physics or economics. And so I think that this would be helpful to all of you. So let's dive in. Okay. So I titled my presentation, if I can go back a little bit, please give me a second. So let me see. I need to share the presentation properly. So let's see. Okay. All right. Let's do this again. Okay. So my presentation has 3 parts: the good news, the bad news, and what do I do? So we'll start with the good news. The good news is that maybe some decades ago, when you were doing mathematics, as has already been said, if you were in a university in Ghana, you were assumed to be preparing for one career and one career only. You were expected to be a teacher. I remember when I was a student, this was in the 2000s. Anytime you told somebody you were doing mathematics, they say, oh, well, is it that you want to teach? And I said, well, no, there are other things I want to do. But you assume to be preparing just to teach. But now what we know is that there are more career paths for mathematics students. And what I want to do is to tell you a bit of these career paths and then some suggestions on what to do next. So let's go back to the state of play now. Nowadays, you have more students who are taking programs in the mathematical sciences, and I think Dr. Chabiri has mentioned it. I was a student, I think I came in a year or two after Dr. McIntyre was appointed lecturer. And we didn't have many female students. And through her and Dr. Jennifer and a lot of hard work, now you have a lot more students who are taking mathematics. You have a lot more female students who have been inspired to take programs in the mathematical sciences. When I was in 300 level, going to 400 level, we were 9 who were doing mathematics as a major, whether
See, he's
major
giving us a statistic.
combined
2003, there were 9
or
students who took math as a major.
so there were 9 of us. I think in the end, I think the others went to do other subjects, and I think only one was a female. This was in 2003. Now, if I go back to our records, about 80 people registered for the 400 level core course in mathematics. So basically, we've gone 8 times as much, and I don't know what goes on in the other universities, but I know if you total the 400 level students, you have a lot more people taking it, and about 30% of them are female. So we still have some ways to go to get to 50-50, but we're on our way there. So let's go forward. Yeah. Now, what are the career paths I want to talk about? There are 3 main paths. So I will talk about academia or education, industry, and then entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is important because the other speakers will tell you, and I'm sure I don't need to tell you that it's sometimes difficult to get employment once you come outside of school, but you can also think of starting things on your own. We'll start with academia. Now, depending on the needs of the country that you are in, the opportunities in secondary schools and universities, and this is not just Ghana, this is anywhere else. And so if you are going to, if you have the aptitude, you have the desire to teach, there's always need for teachers in the mathematical sciences in different secondary schools, both in Ghana and abroad. And then also, if you get to the level of a PhD, then there's also either a track in research or in the case where you actually interface with industry. So you're in a university, but you are in a program where you actually do things for industry. At the University of Ghana, there's the Institute for Applied Sciences and Technology, which tries to form partnerships with outside bodies, tries to look at what problems they have, and then you get researchers to interface with them and then solve problems for them. So that is one track that you can consider. But this is the most common track. When they say you're doing mathematics, you want to teach or you want to do something else. So what else is out there? Well, there are lots and lots of possibilities. I could have listed one for each letter of the alphabet, but I've put just a few here. So I've put accounting or auditing, actuaries, computer programmers or software developers, cybersecurity analysts, climate scientists, data scientists or data analysts, economists, financial analysts, meteorologists, machine learning specialists, operational research analysts. There's so many. I stopped writing because I had exhausted the page. But there are many, many career tracks for a student who has a background in the mathematical sciences. The third part is entrepreneurship. And this example is from someone I found a few years back. What they do is that they offer consulting services. So John Cook has a PhD in mathematics, statistics, and computing. And he and his team go to companies, use the knowledge that they have built to be able to solve specific problems. Sometimes they provide expert testimony. Sometimes they provide certain software packages and so on. So this may be more specialized, but that is another thing that you can do. So it doesn't mean that if you have an advanced degree in mathematics, all you're going to do is you're going to be in academia. You could also build a business consultancy where you are solving problems for companies. And there are lots of companies that started that way. There's one that comes to mind called Renaissance Capital, which was built by somebody who used to work in differential geometry. He went off and started a hedge fund, basically using some of the mathematics to start his own business and grow it. So that is also a third track that sometimes can be used. So there's quite a lot of information and a lot of possibilities for us or a lot of possibilities for students who are interested in mathematical sciences. Now let's go to the bad news. The bad news is, if you have a foundation in mathematics or mathematical sciences, it is only a foundation. When you want to go back to these career tracks that I mentioned, you need more knowledge. You need to know how mathematics is applied in these fields, what kind of mathematics you need, or what kind of extra knowledge you need, and how you use it. These infographics, the next 4 or 5, are from the World Economic Forum Future of Jobs report. I think they did one in 2019. The current one we have is 2020. And you can get the reports from the bottom of the screen. So once you get the slides, if you click on it, it will take you to the full report. It tells us that currently, human beings are doing a lot of the work, but 5 years down the line, you're going to have automation getting to do lots more of the tasks. And what that means is that human beings must change in the sense of how we work and the kinds of jobs that we do. And this is going to be, you'll find out that COVID has made a lot of us start working from home. And I fear that the pace of this is just going to accelerate. The kinds of jobs that we're going to do is changing. These are from the World Economic Forum, the top 10 skills that they require. If you go back, you will see there were some in 2015, 2020. This is 2025. You can highlight things like complex problem solving. You can highlight things like creativity, originality, initiative. You can highlight things like leadership, technology use, resilience, reasoning, problem solving, and ideation. And so you have to now start looking at these skills and asking yourself, how well do you have these at this point? This is the job landscape. This is again looking 5 years in the future. And the ones in blue are the job demands that are going to be growing or anticipated to be growing. The ones in yellow are the ones that are anticipated to be declining. So if I look at the declining things, I see things like accounting, bookkeeping, and payroll clerks, accountant and auditors, data entry, business service, and administration managers. So it means that we need to be careful the kind of careers we choose. When I was a student, one of the jobs people wanted to get into was the banks. But now the banks are automating. You notice that nowadays you don't usually go into the bank to make a payment because the software has now left the banking hall and is now on your phone. So now they need less people in the banking hall. We used to need to queue to get SIM cards for the phone. Now we don't need to do that any longer. So you find out that technology is taking some jobs away, but it's also bringing new ones in. What are some of these new ones? Data analysts and scientists, artificial intelligence, machine learning specialists, and it goes on. A lot of things have to do with data or process automation or information security. So what that means is, as you are in school or as you're about to finish, you need to look at the landscape for what you want to do next. Now, like I said, COVID-19 is accelerating the change because if we are not able to beat the disease early this year, what that means is that things like working from home will take a longer time. So digitization would have to increase. And so what that means is you may not even be able to go into the office for your interview. You may have to interview online, do a lot of the work online. And so we have to be mindful of these changes. Now, the last one I wanted to put in was the share of women in the jobs of tomorrow. You find out this is also something that more work needs to be done, particularly in these areas, and data and AI, cloud computing. We need to make sure that we make our, so we need to make sure that we encourage the female students to continue to stay with the course and to go into these areas. So the conclusion is that success in these career paths I've talked about requires knowledge and skills beyond the foundations in the mathematical sciences. But you can't get some of these in an academic setting, not in a classroom where we give you an assignment, where you solve a problem and so on. It requires some of the things we are talking about today: mentorships, internships, apprenticeships. So there are certain things that you have to get outside of the classroom. You gain the academic knowledge in the classroom setting, but some of these skill sets you need outside. You need to pursue these things, and something, and actually more emphasis is placed on the students or the mentee pursuing these things in order to get to where you want to get to. So, what do you do? Well, you want to do something we call skill acquisition, and I picked this online. Skill acquisition is maybe the process of getting the capability to perform a task. And if you do it over and over again, you may learn to perform it automatically. Now you don't need you don't need to now think through what you're doing. An example is learning how to drive. Those of you who learn how to drive, you remember when you were learning how to drive, everything you thought of, how you hold onto the steering wheel, how you indicate where you are turning and so on. And then after a while, you forget, and then you are listening to music or doing something else. Most skills, whether it's cognitive skills or motor skills or skills in sport, the process is similar. And so we need to make sure that you acquire the skills and knowledge for success in your chosen career paths. Now, I want to just suggest some skills that you will need, whatever path that you want to go into. One of them is what we call data literacy. We share a lot of data now. This this meeting is on Facebook. There are people who are logging in from anywhere. There's a lot of data going in and out. One of the things we will need is how to interpret this data and draw inferences from the data for ourselves. I think I would also recommend fluency in at least one programming language. Automation is going to require us to know enough or some aspects of machine learning, artificial intelligence in our jobs. And so it's important to know how the techniques work. What is the algorithm that's being used? What is the data that's being used to train it? How does it work? And these are important. Third thing is also complex problem solving. Because in employment or even in research or anything, the problems are not going to be simple problems like what you have in your tests. They're going to be amorphous. They're going to have many parts. And so learning how to break things down, as Dr. Tabri said, to look at examples, to look at different solution techniques, to compare and contrast is very important. And we can just call this skill complex problem solving. And think about how you're found. And one way to do it is you can start a WordPress blog where you look at different problems, try to solve it, try to look at solutions, learn something new, take some mathematics and go and look at some finance, see how it's applied there. And that will help you. It will give you better experience on how solutions to some of these projects are done. The fourth one is communication. It is so important to be able to communicate what you do or what you are doing to others. Whether they are in your field or not, communication is vitally important. Whether it's writing, whether it's listening, whether it's speaking, it's vitally important to be able to communicate the aspects of your work to others. If you look up elevator pitch, you see how you can pare down what you do to a really short summary that anybody who meets you will know what you do and how you do it. Now, how do we get these skills? I will just make a few comments. One of them is to practice, but not just practice, what we call deliberate practice. Now, there's a lot of academic treatments by psychologists on what deliberate practice is. All I could say is it's focused practice with clear goals on which aspect of the skill you want to improve. So if it's speaking, which aspect do you want to improve? If it's writing, which aspect do you want to improve? If it's programming, which aspect do you want to improve? And here is where a mentor can help you, because sometimes they can identify the gaps in your knowledge, point out where you need to improve, and then help you work on it. And I've already talked about mentorship. It's George and Angela have mentioned it today. I won't actually go too much into it. The one thing is that sometimes the mentors don't have to be in your field. And it's actually better because you get a good perspective of other things that you need. And then other clubs. So Toastmasters, I don't know if anybody's heard of Toastmasters. It's a club that helps in public speaking. Sometimes in your church or your religious organization, there are roles that you can play, which will give you experience and leadership experience, training experience, and other areas. So to summarize, there are lots of opportunities, but there are gaps. You have the mathematics or the mathematical sciences. You need other things. These resources could help you get started on where you want to get to. The first one is an artificial intelligence course, which was created, I think, by the government of Finland when they had the presidency of the European Union, and they decided to take a course to teach all their citizens on what artificial intelligence is. Not the details, not the hardcore algorithms, but just the details. And they offered it to Europe, and then it's online for free. The Bureau of Labor Statistics is a US government website that looks at the different career tracks and what the outlook is. So this will take you to what's called the Occupational Outlook Handbook. The Math Jobs website is an American Math Society website, which lists jobs that mathematicians could do, whether it's in research, tenure track, or industry. And then I put one from the Institute for Operations Research and Management Sciences, which looks at, different ways in which operations research is being applied to solve problems. There's Python website, there's Toastmasters, there's, for those who are interested, the CFA Institute for Investment Professionals, there's the Society of Actuaries website, and there's the Global Association of Risk Professionals website. So once you get the slides, you can check some of these out. So in the questions that came, what can I do with mathematics? The answer really is anything you want, but you will need to add some more things to get there. And so I hope that this will give you some ideas of what you need to do. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ralph. That was a great presentation. So before we move on to the question and answers, there's another survey I would like us to take. So I'll post in the link right into the chat box, and then we can all take the survey. And we'll come back here for question and answers. Thank you very much. Okay, so I think we can take our questions now. I see Anderson Sharon's hands up. If you could kindly ask your question to us.
Okay, thank you very much for this nice presentation. And then my question is to Dr. Angela. Prior to her presentation, she was like she studied economics, mathematics, and theater arts, but then she dropped the theater arts. So I wanted to know if she also left the economics and then just focused on the mathematics, or she combined it. And then also, if you are interested in going both into economics and then mathematics, what advice are you going to give us, please? Thank you.
Okay, so I think this is for Dr. Angela, and she's going to speak. Dr. Angela.
I think she said she was changing PCs. Okay, she's back. Okay, good.
Yes. So thanks, Sharon, for your first meetings available when you study economics and mathematics, right? So I'll say it gives you a lot of flexibility. So if you want to later on pursue economics to a higher degree, the foundations are mainly mathematics. So when you do higher level econometrics and other areas of economics, you need a very firm background in your mathematics in order to succeed there. So you doing math now will mean that when you get there, you'll be able to further it. But if you also continue with mathematics, so there are other areas, there's financial mathematics or even finance that you can go to into with your economics and mathematics background. But I guess the challenge with us here is that it's sometimes hard to find opportunities. So I remember when I was an undergrad, not an undergrad, when I was a PhD student in Glasgow, the accounting firms used to admit to employ the mathematics graduates. Why? Because they needed people with critical thinking and all that. So you can even go into accounting with your economics and mathematics background. Why? Because it's not about the courses you study, but it's about the skills that you gain through your education, the problem solving skills, your analytical skills, and all that. So there's so much you can do. You can go into finance, you can go into maths, you can go into even economics later or even mathematics. So there's so much you can do. Thanks.
Okay, please, Dr. Angela. So can you offer your PhD both in economics and then mathematics? Is it possible?
So your PhD can only be awarded in a particular field, but your project can be interdisciplinary. So I know people who are working in projects which are both in, let's say, mathematics and biology. So they even have supervisors, one in the biology department and one in the mathematics. So you can have interdisciplinary PhD projects, but your award will be given in either mathematics or the other discipline.
Because when Dr. Ralph was making his presentation, the man he showed to us, if I heard him right, was like he has gotten his PhD in statistics and then other courses. That was why I was asking if you can get your PhD.
Then you should ask Ralph this question. Ralph, I think
Dr. Ralph, please, is it true I can get
Okay.
your PhD in statistics and maybe mathematics at the same time?
Well,
Is it
like Dr. Tabri is saying, if you get a PhD, it will be typically in one discipline. But that, maybe to say this, there are now, as she's saying, there are theses which will straddle at more than one department. What do I mean? Like she said, you can do a PhD in mathematics, but you're looking at applications to, let's say, cancer. And so even though, yes, the PhD will be awarded in mathematics, you have a background in both mathematics and then the biology. The fellow I put up there, I believe the PhD is in mathematics, but it has strong statistical bent and a strong computing bent. So you have the foundation, but you are looking at different applications in those fields. In your case, if you're looking at mathematics and economics, there is financial economics, which will combine both what you know in mathematics or add things like analysis and so on, and apply to economic theory. Then there's this other field of economics, I think is data-driven economics, where you are looking at data and trying to use that to solve economic problems. So again, you have a strong mathematics, statistics, and economics background. Now, different universities may house this PhD in different departments. It may be that in one university, it will be in the mathematics department. In one university, it will be in the economics department. But what matters is, what are you gaining and what are you doing with it? So if you want to combine both mathematics and economics, feel free. There are lots of opportunities, just that you have to have a solid background in both. But it is possible.
Thank you very much.
Hello, please.
Okay.
I asked a
So
question
there's a
and
question on
it
Facebook
was
by
directed to Dr. Angela that Hello.
Yeah, you can ask your question.
Yeah, please. I asked a question. I said like when you are majoring in mathematics after having gained maybe a degree or a master, can you divert with your degree in mathematics to any other field like maybe computers, like something like that?
Okay, thanks for your question. Yes, that's possible. So I'll give you an example. So when I was a PhD student, the advisor is working on his PhD was in mathematics, but later on he decided that okay, economics was the area that he wanted to pursue. So you can have a PhD as not a PhD, you can have a degree in mathematics, but for your postgrad, people even do computer science, statistics, or others. What matters is that for that new course you want to do you have the foundation for it? Yes.
Okay, so there's another question on Facebook by Nana Kobi, and then I think George wants to take that.
Okay, I was muted here. So he wants to know if, I think, let me try to get the question again. He was like, how can he get a mentor? How can he be connected? So how would I know? Can you help me to know how to be connected to a mentor? So Nana, if you are still there, I always say when people ask me this question, I always say it starts with you. It starts with you. So you have to know who you are. You have to be able to do that self-assessment. And I'm sure if you have that, you've done that now, you know your talents, your passion, your goals. It shouldn't necessarily be well defined. You shouldn't, get all the answers right, but at least have an idea of who you are, what you have, where you want to go, even if it is vague in a way, that is still okay. And after you've been able to identify that, you have to know where you are in that process. So like others have said here, if you want to maybe become a computer scientist or do mathematics to the PhD level, but now you have a first degree, or maybe you are still an undergrad, maybe level 100 or 2, that is where you are. Then the third thing, which of course informs the whole thing, is who do you need to help you get to where you want to be? And so that an answer to that question would let you know who you want to approach as a mentor. And so when you have these answers, you know that maybe you need a person who has maybe studied mathematics and not somebody who has studied, say, psychology. So that helps you to have a focus. After you've been able to identify that, these days, because of the internet and all that, you can have access to lots of information. But you want to start from where you are. If you are a student, are there people within your faculty, your department, who could be potential mentors to you? If maybe not in that area, in your local, say, religious group, church, or whatever form of religion you have, are there people in your circles pretty much that you can reach out to? If you identify those things, then you have to find a nice way to be able to connect to these people. And when I say nice way, you can ask to meet with them and talk about something with them. Ask for that opportunity to connect with them and talk about it. Sometimes if you have to send them an email, you can email them. If you have to find a way to connect with them, share what you have and where you think they can help you get there. And even, for instance, if you are a student and you want to reach out to some of your faculty members, they shouldn't necessarily be people who have taught you before. You can maybe begin by reading some of their articles, some of their research work, so that you are a bit informed, of what they are doing. In that sense, when you meet with them, you can have a good way of connecting with them, because you are knowledgeable about what they are doing. So what I'm saying in the nutshell is, know who you are, know where you are, know where you want to go, and then find out the person or the people who can help you. And as Dr. Raff said, sometimes the people you need may not necessarily be in the circles of where you are right now, if you know where you are going. And so when you have done all that, find a way to ask, to connect with them. And normally that is where it begins. And what we do here at Meet Mentors is that if you connect with us and maybe you don't even know where to start from, we can help you go through that process to find a mentor. So I think if Nana Kobe, you are still there, that is what I would share in relation to your question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I've seen Benedicta Labi's hands up. If she has a question, she could ask. Okay, so I think I don't know if Benedicta is around, but if you have a question, you could please ask.
I will close it. People can answer his question too.
We can't hear you, please. Your microphone is.
Hello.
Hello, yeah.
Yeah, my question is relating to this universities and their way of what giving courses to students. A case where I have interest in mathematics, but doing other maybe some reading course or yeah something. If I want to continue mathematics in my next level in education, what are the criteria? Or I could just be accepted in the area of mathematics just like that.
I don't know if you could repeat your question again. Your microphone wasn't clear. If you could kindly repeat your question again. Your microphone was too much.
Please, is it okay? Hello, please, is it okay now?
Yeah, it's okay now. It's okay now.
All right. So my question is, in this case where a tertiary institution and courses, if I have experience in mathematics, I'm doing courses that is relating to mathematics currently. What are the criteria if maybe my next level in education I want to go into the mathematics field?
I think this question either Dr. Ralph or Dr. Angela is going to take it.
Okay, so let me try. So if you are you want to go into graduate study and your graduate study is mathematics, then you have to have a substantial course content in mathematics in undergraduate. I'm sure Dr. Tabiri can tell you what some of the requirements of places like AIMS or ICTP requires. If they look at your transcript, they need to see certain things. Enough of calculus, enough of algebra, enough of differential equations, maybe some topology, some measure theory. Those who are in level 400 now will know what I'm talking about. Those who are in lower levels, just know that you have to do a lot more mathematics. That's for mathematics. But if it's something related, let's say it's economics or maybe some or statistics or some others, then some mathematics and then some of the other subject is required. So you need to do the research. Look at what you want to do. Look at the schools that do it. And now the schools, they are happy to tell you what they want to see on your transcript. And so once you see it, you know whether you have it. If it's operations research, maybe some linear algebra is there, some programming is there, something else. So it depends on what you want to do. And like I said, the job is on you with your mentor to look at where you want to go and what you need to get there.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Ralph. So I think Asan's microphone is also on. Asan Bukari, if you could ask your question. Hello, Hassan.
I'm sorry about that. Please, I'm Hassan, of 100 student of the University of Ghana, and I actually want to direct my question to I think Dr. Raf. And my question is, after doing mathematics, undergrad in mathematics, can you actually divert the whole thing into the medical field? Let's say becoming any medical officer after doing mathematics, and you actually want to proceed by not going to start from square zero. That is my first question. And the second question is that if you are taking mathematics and maybe after your undergrad, you want to become a hardware engineer, how is that possible? Where do you supposed to pass before you will be able to become a good hardware engineer? Thank you very much.
Okay, so the answer to the first question is it depends. I just been addressing that in the chat. In the University of Ghana used to have, or they have what's called a graduate entry medical program for students who had graduated in sciences and wanted to go into med school, and then they would admit. But the mathematics used to be part, but now it's no longer part, so that's an issue. But I know, for instance, in the States and in other places, maybe in Europe, Angela can talk about that. But in the US, medicine, I understand, is a graduate program. So if you are an undergraduate in mathematics, what you need to do is you need to study for the exams and so on and get into the school. So that depends. Now, I mean, hardware, if you're looking at hardware, now you're looking at engineering. You will, like I said, the mathematics then will be a foundation. But in that case, you need a lot of things to add, more plus, because if you're going to be building things, then it means that now you're going to be solving a different set of problems. What are your tolerances? What is the final output? What are your constraints? So then you're going to have to take a lot more engineering courses. But there, maybe the calculus and the differential equations would help you get through some parts of it earlier than others. So look up what you want to do and look at what it will take for you to get there. I hope this helps.
Maybe I can add a bit to what Dr. Raf said. So, for instance, I don't know much about the case in Ghana because this is not my field. But as he said, in Canada, for instance, if you want to get into medicine, it doesn't really matter the background you have. As long as you have a degree, you can. You would have to write the test. There is a standardized test that qualifies you into admission into a medical, school program. So as long as you can write that, pass it, you can get access into medical school. So yeah, there are options, but it depends on where you are.
Thank you very much, Dr. Raf and then George for the answers. I think the next question is going to come from, okay, I don't know his name, but I think the name here stops. If his question is ready, he should kindly ask the question.
Okay, yeah, I'm here. Yeah, so thank you. I want to find out concerning the mentorship thing. So for instance, I want a mentor. So in this case, will it be appropriate to go ahead and just in a formal way approach the fellow that you need? Then you tell him that, okay, this is what I'm thinking of doing. Or is it that you have to ask, I think Dr. Raphael was talking earlier on that we have to, first of all, learn much about what the fellow is doing. So that will grant us a better communication with the fellow. But then to me, I think it might be a long way. So will it be appropriate to just go straight ahead and ask the fellow?
Can I take that?
Sure, you can take that, Judge.
So once again, I couldn't get the name of the one who asked, but I've shared a link to a blog post in the chat box about some of the ways of connecting with a prospective mentor. And I said before that you can read about them. It's not the only way. You can approach them. But normally, if you want to approach somebody, if you approach somebody Sorry, I was muted. My apologies. So what I was saying is that I have shared a link in the chat box about, it's a blog post on how to connect with a prospective mentor. So when you read that, there are a couple of ways. When I mentioned before about reading about their research and background, it doesn't mean you should do an extensive, extensive reading on all the papers they've written. Normally, when you meet people, chances are they have had other people who have come to them to ask for a similar thing. And especially, I'm sure Dr. Ralph and Angela would attest to this. If you teach, you often get a lot of students coming to you. Some of them are not serious. That is the plain truth. Others are serious and are willing to commit. In every mentoring relationship, the mentor would want to see that the mentee is committed. And one of the ways that you can show that sign before you even start a conversation is to know at least a bit about what they have done in the past. That will set you apart from the many other people who will just go and say, please, sir, can you be my mentor? I want to do A, B, C, and D. And so that is why I mentioned that. But if you have already got a relationship with them and you want to move on to ask, you can go ahead and ask for that. But I always advise that try to find something that would initiate a good communication between you and the prospective mentor. And in that case, you would be set apart differently from the other people who would just go and request that they are they are taken up as mentees. Because always the prospective mentors want to filter and find those who are not serious, take them away, and then consider working with those who are serious. So that is why you have to take that approach.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. George. Give me a feed here already. There's another question on Facebook. I don't know if George would like to take that question.
I think that one, what I'm seeing on Facebook, it says, can you get employed in the industry after getting a degree in mathematics major and starts minor from the University of Ghana? I have no clue about this. So I think maybe Dr. Tebri or Dr. Ralph would take that.
Could I get the question again? He has a, I didn't, could I take the question again? Yes.
So the person is asking, he said, sir, please, can you get employed in the industry after getting a degree in mathematics major and statistics minor from the University of Ghana? Can you get a job in the industry? It's quite vague.
Yeah, it's a very vague question. He said the industry, because there are many industries. And so the encouragement is figure out which industry you want to go into. It doesn't have to be one. You could have a list of things you want to look at, and then start looking at what do you need to get employed. You will find typically that you need some sort of experience, and it doesn't have to be work experience, total full work experience, but internships and so on. I know when I first joined the University of Ghana, I had a student who, well, he did okay in his mathematics, but he had a passion for finance. Everything he did, he was interested in derivatives, he was interested in the stock market. That was all he was studying. He didn't do so well in his other courses, but that got him an internship with Barclays. And then from there, he went to Data Bank, and that's where he is. So it doesn't take just the degree. There's also other things that will get you in the door. The CV may get you the interview, but it might not get you the job if all you know is the mathematics. And I think that's what I tried to get at in the presentation. It's not just the degree. You may need other things.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Ralph. We are going to take two more questions and then we can finish up the Q&A session. So I think Ben has a question here. If you could ask your question.
Yeah, hello, sir. Good evening, sir. My question is to Mr. George. You were talking about forming a relationship with a prospective mentor before you actually ask them My question is, if you already have a relationship with them, do you necessarily have to ask them again that you want them to be your mentor, or you can just leave it there? That's my question.
Okay, so if you have a relationship with them, it will depend on the kind of relationship. Sometimes the relationship you may have with, let's say let me use Dr. Raf here because most of you know him. Dr. Raf is your professor, he is your head of department. That is a relationship you have. It does not necessarily mean he sees you as a mentee or you see him as your mentor. If you want the relationship to move further from just a normal professor-student relationship to a much more deeper one, it is always important to ask, because when you ask, it helps them to also accept or not, because sometimes they may say, I have more people I'm working on, I wouldn't be able to give you my full time. So I would always advise that be intentional about how you want the relationship to look like. Ask them. If you ask and they say yes, that is fine. If they say no, then they may even be able to connect you to somebody in their network who can also support you. So I would always advise that you find a way to ask officially.
All right, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much. I think the next person is Ronald Ahinfo. If you could ask your question, please. Ronald.
Good evening, sir. Hello.
Hello, we can hear you. If you could ask your question. Ronald, we are okay. I don't think Ronald is on here.
The people who create theories for mathematics, how would you like, how would that theory be created? Maybe you have a theory to create. How would that theory reach everywhere in the world? That's my question.
Ronald, I don't think we heard your question clearly. If you could please ask the question again. Ronald, I don't think we heard your question clearly. If you could please ask your question again. Ronald, we can't hear you. If you could please ask your questions again.
Ronald, you can put it in the chat as well. If the network is not working, that could also be read.
Okay, so thank you very much to all the three speakers for giving us such insight. I'll talk about the certificate for the program. All those who registered with your emails, would the certificate will be forwarded to you guys to your emails as soon as possible, and then we'll have that. So the president of the society, the TMS Society, Emmanuel Kwame, give us the closing remarks, and then we can end off this program.
Please, can you allow me to ask Mr. George a question, please?
Okay, so you ask your question, then we have our closing remarks.
Okay, just a simple question. Sorry about that. Okay, Mr. George, please, I actually want to know, is it advisable to have more than 3 mentors? For example, I'm a mathematics student and I have one political scientist who is my mentor, and I have a mathematician who is also my mentor. So I'm thinking of adding a different mentor from a different field. Do you advise or do you think it's okay to have more than 3 mentors at the same time? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Hassan. The answer is yes. The answer is yes because it all depends on what you are doing. I have more than one mentor in my life. I mean, even now at my level. And so you just have to know what the expectations are in each of the relationships. That is one. Two, you have to also know your capacity to be able to receive what the mentors will be giving you, because most of the mentors do not just want to waste their time in quotes, pouring information to you without they seeing it impacting your life. So if you know that with the 3 mentors, you can still put into practice what they're guiding you on, you can really you can implement what they're sharing with you to let them know that they are impacting your life. Then I would say yes, you can have more than you can get up to 3 mentors. If you get too many of them too, sometimes it makes you a bit confused because you may not be very focused in that. So 3, I would say, is the max if that is okay with you. But yes, you can have 3 mentors as long as you have defined what each person is bringing into your life for you to progress in your life. That is okay.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
Welcome.
Okay, so thank you very much. We'll take our closing remarks from the president of the society, Emmanuel Ayamfo, and then.
Okay, thank you very much, Desmond, for this opportunity. To put everything to an end, I would like to give some takeaways from what has transpired this very evening. The first thing is that George May mentioned that a mentor can be a sponsor, a coach, and a guide. And he also made mention that mentors don't make decisions for you. They are just there to guide you into the right direction. John Crosby made a quote. He said, mentoring is a brain to pick, an ear to listen, and a push in the right direction. So mentors don't make decisions for you. You come up with a decision and they will guide and push you, make the necessary resources available to you for you to be able to achieve whatever that you desire. Moving forward, we're enlightened on the job prospects in mathematical science. Some of us, we have this notion that all that we can do with math is to become a lecturer. But I believe this evening, with that notion has been taken off because there are more things that we can do with mathematics than just teaching. Moving forward, I would like to say a very big thank you first to the Almighty God for making this program a success. In fact, He has given us life, and without life, we will not be present here. I would also like to thank, on behalf of TMS, I would like to thank all of our speakers, George, Dr. Angela, and Dr. Ralph, for taking time off their busy schedules to make time with us and to impact into our lives. To them, I say thank you very much. To my programs and planning committee, my executives, I would say thank you also for making this program possible. Actually, this program started as a crazy idea. Then what happened was that we just tried to put in effort into it. And today, see how we benefited from this program. I would also like to thank all the ladies and gentlemen, my colleague students, and all those who are present here, those in the University of Ghana and those outside the University of Ghana, for also being part of this program. Actually, we cannot have a program without an audience. So you being here as an audience is a positive effect on this program. And I want to say thank you very much for that. I would also like to make you aware that this is not going to stop here. We have more things that we are planning to do as a society to leave a positive impact on students. With that said, I will say thank you all and may God bless us all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody. Since we began with a prayer, we have to end with a prayer. So just Fred will close us with a prayer, and then we can all happily walk out of this conference.
Okay, can we pray? Our dear Lord and Master Jesus, we thank you for a wonderful program. We thank you, Father, for helping us connect, Father, to such people who are very inspiring and motivating. We thank you, Father, for giving us this guide and helping us to get the time to participate in this program to benefit a lot. We're also looking forward, Father, for more of such programs which benefit us greatly. Thank you for a wonderful day and a wonderful program. And we pray also bless the speakers, Father, for giving us their time to help us. In this and any other things, I pray. In Jesus' name we pray thanksgiving. Amen.
Amen. So thank you all for coming. You can
You're
happily
welcome.
walk out of this conference with so much that we have taken. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. May God bless you very, very well. Thank you. Thank you.
Very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I really enjoy it. I'm hoping Mr. George will be my next mentor. Yes,
Feel free and let's commence.